Commander Jake Dalton stood on the command bridge of Earth's secret weapon, the Supercarrier Valkyrie, gazing out at the sprawling starscape that lay beyond the viewport. His crew moved efficiently around him, their voices a murmur of concentrated activity against the soft hum of the ship's engines. "Commander, all systems show green. We're ready for the final engine calibration," reported Lieutenant Harper, her eyes locked on the glowing panels in front of her. "Proceed, Lieutenant. Let's keep everything by the book. The last thing we need is to draw attention before we're ready," Jake replied, his voice calm but firm. As the Valkyrie maneuvered discreetly within the shadow of Saturn's rings, a sudden blip on the radar caught the attention of Ensign Cole. "Commander, we've got an unexpected contact. Signature suggests a Galactic Empire patrol fleet. They're heading our way." Jake's eyes narrowed. "Visuals now." The main screen flicked to life, showing a sleek formation of Empire ships cutting through space. Jake knew the importance of this moment. The Valkyrie was about to be tested sooner than expected. "Open a comm channel. Let's try to defuse this," he ordered. Cole nodded, working his console quickly. "Channel open, Commander." "This is Commander Jake Dalton of the Earth vessel Valkyrie," Jake began, his voice broadcasting across space. "We are on a peaceful scientific mission. We mean no harm." The reply was almost immediate, the voice of the Empire patrol captain cold and authoritative. "Unknown Earth vessel, your presence in this sector is a violation of Imperial boundaries. Identify your intentions immediately." Jake exchanged a quick glance with his first officer, who nodded slightly, a silent agreement on their next move. "We were unaware of any boundary breach. We maintain our peaceful intentions and are prepared to withdraw." The tension in the room spiked as they awaited the Empire's response. After a long pause, the captain's voice returned, slightly less stern. "Maintain your position and prepare to be boarded. We will verify your intentions directly." "Understood," Jake replied, cutting the transmission. He turned to his crew, his expression resolute. "Looks like we're going to have to show a bit more of our hand than planned. Harper, initiate silent running protocol. Cole, keep a constant eye on those ships. Let's not get any surprises." As the Valkyrie's lights dimmed under the silent running protocol, the crew tensed, watching the approaching Empire ships. Jake felt the weight of command heavier than ever. Earth's best-kept secret was about to face its first real challenge, and the outcome would reverberate far beyond the rings of Saturn. The tension on the Valkyrie's bridge was palpable as Commander Jake Dalton awaited the arrival of the Galactic Empire's inspection team. His crew stood ready, the air thick with anticipation. "Commander, the Empire shuttle has docked," announced Ensign Cole, his voice steady despite the circumstances. Jake nodded, straightening his uniform. "Let's give them a proper welcome. Harper, you're with me. Cole, you have the bridge." Walking briskly to the airlock, Jake prepared himself for the encounter. As the airlock doors hissed open, a delegation of Imperial officers stepped through, their uniforms crisp, their expressions unreadable. "Commander Dalton, I am Captain Lyra Merrick of the Imperial Patrol. We've been instructed to verify the nature of your mission," Captain Merrick stated, her gaze sweeping the surroundings. "Welcome aboard the Valkyrie, Captain Merrick. We appreciate the need for security in these volatile times," Jake responded, offering a diplomatic smile. "I assure you, our mission is purely scientific." Captain Merrick nodded slightly, not fully convinced. "We will need to see your mission logs and inspect your cargo holds." "Of course, Captain. Right this way," Jake said, leading the delegation deeper into the ship. He shared a quick look with Lieutenant Harper, signaling her to stay alert. As they walked through the corridors, Jake continued. "The Valkyrie is one of Earth's newest vessels, equipped with advanced research facilities. We're here studying gravitational anomalies and their effects on wormhole stability." Captain Merrick listened intently, her eyes missing nothing. "Impressive technology for a scientific mission. This doesn't look standard issue for a research vessel, Commander." Jake chose his words carefully. "Earth has always prioritized the safety of its crews, Captain. Given the unpredictable nature of space, we find it prudent to be prepared." The tour proceeded without incident until they reached the main hangar. The Empire's officers inspected the various equipment and drones, their suspicion evident but gradually waning as Jake's explanations held consistent. After the inspection, they gathered once more at the airlock. "Thank you for your cooperation, Commander Dalton. Your vessel and your explanations seem in order," Captain Merrick finally conceded, though her tone suggested she remained unconvinced. "However, we will report our findings back to the Emperor. It will be up to him to decide the next steps." "Understood, Captain. We hope our forthcoming nature has reaffirmed Earth's commitment to peace. Jake replied, maintaining a facade of calm. As the Imperial delegation departed, Jake let out a quiet sigh of relief. Harper, let's get back to the bridge. We need to prepare for any fallout from this meeting. Back on the bridge, Jake looked out at the stars, contemplating their next move. Cole, set a course back to Earth. It's time we discuss our encounter today with the United Earth Command. We may have passed this inspection, but I have a feeling our troubles are just beginning. Back on the bridge of the Valkyrie, Commander Jake Dalton stared intently at the holographic star map sprawling before him. Update on our current position, Ensign Cole? He asked, his voice carrying a mix of authority and anticipation. We are now at the edge of neutral space, Commander. All systems remain stealthed, but we're effectively in a blind spot for both Earth and the Empire, Cole reported efficiently, his fingers dancing over the controls. Jake nodded, deep in thought. Perfect. Let's see how the Empire decides to play this game. Harper, have all crew on high alert and ready the ship for a possible quick engagement. I want to be prepared for any surprises. Understood, Commander. I'll have the weapon systems on standby and shields at the ready, Lieutenant Harper responded, her tone matching the seriousness of the situation. As the Valkyrie hovered silently, an encrypted message crackled through the comm system. Commander Dalton, this is Earth Command. Intelligence suggests that the Empire might be planning a small-scale skirmish to test our capabilities. Remain vigilant. Copy that, Command. We'll hold our ground, Jake replied, his gaze fixed on the forward screen, where the first signs of the Empire's approach were beginning to materialize. Minutes later, a small fleet of Empire warships appeared on the horizon, their engines glowing faintly against the backdrop of deep space. Looks like the test begins now, Jake murmured, standing up from his seat. Open a wide channel, Cole. Let's try diplomacy one more time. Cole nodded and executed the command. Channel open, Commander. This is Commander Jake Dalton of the Earth vessel Valkyrie. We recognize your presence and reaffirm our peaceful intentions. We are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary, but we seek no conflict, Jake broadcasted, hoping to de-escalate the situation. The response was swift and not as hopeful. Valkyrie, this is Admiral Gen of the Galactic Empire. Consider this a boundary enforcement exercise. Your vessel will either retreat or demonstrate its compliance with Empire mandates. Jake exhaled slowly, a wry smile playing on his lips. Admiral Gen, as much as we respect your authority, we stand firm on our right to navigate freely in neutral space. We will defend that right if pushed. The silence that followed was electric. Jake's crew tensed, ready for his command. Without warning, the Empire fleet advanced, launching a barrage of controlled but non-lethal firepower as a clear provocation. Shields up. Return fire, but keep it non-lethal. Aim for their weapon systems only. Let's show them what we're made of, Jake ordered, his voice calm but resolute. The Valkyrie responded beautifully, its advanced targeting systems and superior maneuverability allowing it to disable the attacking ship's weapons without sustaining significant damage itself. As the smoke cleared, Jake reopened communications. Admiral Gen, I believe we've demonstrated our capabilities and our resolve. We can either escalate this conflict or discuss our mutual interests peacefully. The choice is yours. After a tense pause, the Admiral's voice came through. Commander Dalton, consider your point made. We will reevaluate our stance. Stand down for now. Jake gave a slight nod, signaling his crew to lower their weapons. Thank you, Admiral. We await your next communication. As the Empire ships withdrew, Jake turned to his crew, a light of pride in his eyes. Well done, everyone. Let's prepare a full report for Earth Command. Today, we showed them exactly what the Valkyrie can do. After the skirmish with the Galactic Empire, word of the Valkyrie's formidable display spread quickly across nearby systems. The bridge buzzed with a new kind of energy as Commander Jake Dalton reviewed the communications from several smaller civilizations, each expressing admiration for Earth's resolve and interest in forming alliances. Commander, we have received formal meeting requests from the Tarquin Collective, the Zephyr Confederacy, and the Orion Syndicate. They're intrigued by our stand against the Empire and are eager to discuss potential alliances, Lieutenant Harper reported, handing Jake a data tablet filled with diplomatic communiques. Jake nodded thoughtfully. Schedule meetings with each of their delegates. Let's not keep our potential allies waiting. We need to build a coalition if we're going to maintain our position against the Empire's aggression. The meetings were set to take place aboard the Valkyrie, a neutral ground that showcased Earth's technological advancements and commitment to mutual respect. One by one, the representatives from the various civilizations came aboard, each greeted personally by Commander Dalton and his senior officers. During the first meeting with the Tarquin Collective, represented by Ambassador Soren, the discussion quickly moved beyond pleasantries. Commander Dalton, your actions in neutral space were commendable. We believe an alliance with Earth could significantly shift the balance of power in our favor, Soren stated, his voice a mix of diplomacy and urgency. We are open to discussing the terms of such an alliance, Jake replied, keen to explore the possibilities. Earth values its independence, but also recognizes the strength in cooperation. What do you propose? Ambassador Soren outlined a plan for mutual defense and technology sharing, particularly in advanced propulsion and weaponry that could benefit from Earth's recent advancements. Each meeting that followed echoed this sentiment, with each civilization bringing something unique to the table. After the negotiations, Jake convened with his senior staff in the Valkyrie's strategy room. We have a real opportunity here to create a network of alliances. Each of these civilizations offers strengths that, when combined with our own, could create a formidable force against any Empire provocations. Lieutenant Harper, always the tactician, chimed in. We'll need to ensure that our technology doesn't fall into the wrong hands. I recommend setting up stringent protocols for technology sharing and joint military exercises to strengthen our tactical cohesion. Agreed, Jake said. Implement the necessary protocols, Harper, and let's start planning the first of these joint exercises. If we're to stand together, we need to train together. As the representatives departed the Valkyrie, each with agreements in principle for future cooperation, Jake felt a cautious optimism. The potential alliances promised a new era of galactic relations, with Earth at its center, not as a dominator, but as an equal among stars. Standing before the expansive viewport on the bridge, Jake watched the stars twinkle against the void. This is just the beginning, he murmured to himself. But it's a good beginning. The Valkyrie glided through space, its engines humming quietly as it patrolled the newly established border of the Allied territories. Commander Jake Dalton reviewed the latest security protocols with his team in the war room when Lieutenant Harper interrupted with urgent news. Commander, our internal sensors have detected unauthorized access to the navigation systems. Initial traces suggest it could be an Imperial spy, Harper reported, her expression grave. Jake's eyes narrowed. Lock down the navigation room. I want everyone on high alert. Harper, you're with me. Let's catch our spy. They hurried to the navigation room, where security had already detained a suspect. The man was dressed in a technician's uniform but lacked proper identification. Who are you, and what are you doing on my ship? Jake demanded, his voice cold. The man hesitated, then spoke in a measured tone. I am Joran, sent by the Galactic Empire. I mean no harm. I only wish to gather information. Jake scoffed. Spying on a military vessel and you mean no harm? What information were you sent to gather? Joran looked around, seemingly weighing his options, then sighed. Technology and alliance strategies. The Empire fears what your new partnerships might bring. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Jake turned to Harper. Interrogate him thoroughly, find out what he knows about the Empire's plans, and check for any data breaches. With the spy securely held, Jake convened a meeting with his senior officers and representatives of the Allied civilizations via secure transmission. We've caught an Imperial spy on the Valkyrie. This confirms our suspicions that the Empire is taking our alliances seriously and sees them as a threat, Jake disclosed, his image flickering on screens across several star systems. Ambassador Soren of the Tarquin Collective responded first, his tone urgent. This is a blatant violation of our sovereignty. We must respond decisively to protect our interests. I propose a joint intelligence operation to uncover the extent of Imperial espionage, suggested Zara, a strategist from the Zephyr Confederacy. We can pool our resources and create a counter-espionage network. Jake nodded in agreement. A coordinated approach is exactly what we need. We'll host the first planning session here on the Valkyrie. Let's turn their spy into our advantage. As plans were set in motion, Jake felt the alliance solidifying further. The espionage attempt, meant to undermine their strength, was instead turning into a unifying force. Later, as Harper reported back from the interrogation, she brought more troubling news. The spy has revealed that the Empire may be planning a series of covert strikes intended to test our defenses and resolve. Then we'll need to be one step ahead, Jake concluded, his mind already racing through scenarios. Let's use this information to our advantage, prepare the fleet for possible scenarios we might face. And Harper, tighten our security, no more breaches. As the Valkyrie continued its patrol, Jake couldn't help but feel a mix of trepidation and resolve. The galaxy was on the brink of change, and Earth was now undeniably at the heart of it. Commander Jake Dalton stood in the command center of the Valkyrie, watching as reports streamed in from Proxima Centauri. The situation was dire. The Galactic Empire had launched a surprise siege on the star system, which was a strategic ally of Earth and critical to their new alliance network. "Status report," Jake demanded, his voice steady despite the escalating tension. "Imperial forces have blockaded Proxima Centauri, cutting off all supply lines. They're making demands for the system to renounce its alliance with Earth and surrender to Empire governance," Lieutenant Harper detailed, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Jake clenched his fists. "We can't allow that. Proxima Centauri is a linchpin in our alliance. If it falls, others may waver in their commitment against the Empire's aggression." He turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to all Allied ships. We're going in. Coordinate our approach with the Proxima Defense Forces. We need a synchronized strike to break the siege." As the Allied fleet assembled, the Valkyrie at its heart, Jake briefed his crew and the Allied commanders. "This is more than a battle for one system. This is about proving our resolve and our capability to stand together. We break this siege, and we break the Empire's belief that they can bully any of us into submission." The space around Proxima Centauri soon filled with ships from Earth and its allies, forming a formidable force against the Imperial blockade. The Valkyrie led the charge, its advanced weaponry and shields ready for the conflict ahead. "Engage all forward batteries. Target their flagship. Let's show them what this ship can do," Jake ordered as the Valkyrie surged forward, piercing through the skirmish lines with its allies close behind. The battle was intense, with both sides exchanging heavy fire. The Valkyrie's superior technology and Jake's tactical acumen slowly turned the tide in their favor. One by one, the Empire's ships began to fall back, their blockade weakening. "Push through! All ships, focus fire on their command vessel. Break their will to fight," Jake commanded, his eyes locked on the view screen where the Imperial flagship struggled to maintain its position. With a final concerted effort from the Allied fleet, the blockade crumbled. The Valkyrie and its allies poured into the Proxima system, driving the Imperial forces into retreat. As the dust settled, Jake contacted the Proxima Centauri government. "This is Commander Dalton of the Valkyrie. The siege is broken. You're free to re-establish your sovereignty." The gratitude from Proxima was palpable. "Thank you, Commander. We owe our freedom to your bravery and swift action. Proxima Centauri remains committed to the Alliance, more so now than ever." With their mission accomplished, Jake allowed himself a brief smile. "All ships, regroup. We've won the battle, but the war is far from over. Let's stay vigilant." As the Valkyrie and its fleet prepared for the journey back, Jake felt a renewed sense of purpose. The successful defense of Proxima Centauri had not only held their alliance together, but had also sent a clear message to the Empire and the galaxy. Earth and its allies were a force to be reckoned with. In the aftermath of the successful defense of Proxima Centauri, the diplomatic reverberations were felt throughout the galaxy. The Galactic Empire, seeing the solid resistance and unity of the smaller systems under Earth's leadership, called for a special session of the Galactic Congress to address the escalating tensions. Commander Jake Dalton, representing Earth and its allies, prepared to argue their position on the galactic stage. As the Valkyrie docked at the Congress station, a sprawling hub of diplomacy orbiting a neutral star, Jake met with his advisors and allied representatives to strategize their presentation. "We need to be clear and firm in our stance. We defend our rights to form alliances and protect our sovereignty," Jake briefed his team, reviewing the data pads filled with diplomatic notes and legal precedents. Entering the grand auditorium of the Congress, Jake felt the weight of countless expectant gazes upon him. The chamber was filled with delegates from across the galaxy, each with their own agendas and allegiances. The Emperor's envoy, a stern and calculating diplomat named Envoy Varric, opened the session with a thinly veiled accusation. While the Empire respects the sovereignty of all star systems, it cannot condone the aggressive military posturing and unauthorized alliances that threaten regional stability, Varric proclaimed, his voice echoing in the silent chamber. Jake rose, calm but assertive, to make his rebuttal. "Esteemed members of the Congress, the actions taken by Earth and its allies were in direct response to unprovoked aggression by the Empire. Our alliances are not a threat, but a commitment to mutual support and peacekeeping within our regions." The debate was intense, with several systems voicing their support for Earth, while others, either out of fear or loyalty, sided with the Empire. The discussion stretched into hours, with countless arguments and counter-arguments presented. Finally, it was Jake's turn to deliver a closing statement. This Congress was founded on the principles of dialogue and mutual respect. What we ask today is to uphold these ideals. Let us not be divided by fear or ambition. Let us work together to build a galaxy where the security of one does not come at the expense of others. His speech was met with a mixture of applause and murmurs. The vote was called, and after a tense countdown, the results were displayed on the grand screen above the assembly. The motion to recognize Earth's alliance and condemn the Empire's provocations passed by a slim margin. As the Congress adjourned, Jake felt a mix of relief and resolve. The victory was significant, but he knew the real work of building lasting peace was just beginning. Walking back to the Valkyrie, he communicated with his crew. "Prepare for departure. We have a lot to discuss and even more to do. Today we secured a victory for diplomacy, but tomorrow the journey continues." As the Valkyrie left the station, its course set back towards Earth, Jake looked out into the stars, contemplating the future. The challenges ahead were daunting, but for now, Earth stood united with its new allies, a collective force ready to face whatever the galaxy might throw their way.